everyone. This is Health Highlights. Health Highlights is a show about health professionals and the people and the stories behind the names that we hear about but we seldom get to meet. And today, got a really special interview. I'm really excited about this. Jack O'Brien has a fantastic physio who has been building a business since 2012. He graduated from Newcastle University and now he's got 5 locations and 20 staff doing amazing things here in the Hunter. So welcome, Jack.
Hi mate, how you going?
I'm great, thank you.
Good.
So firstly, can you tell us, why did you choose physio?
Oh, that's a good question. I grew up playing rugby league. I played through the Knights juniors, and I spent a lot of time as a patient on the treatment table as a physio patient, and so picked up on it from there and loved the element of working with sports. It's interesting. I think most physios end up having an epiphany around year 1 or year 2 and thought about doing medicine or transitioning. Yeah. I guess I was looking for something that could help people as much as possible. And so for me, I kind of thought, physio doesn't help people much. It's just fixing the backaches of whingers. That was what I thought as a naive first year physio student. And so I thought about transitioning to medicine, but the lifestyle didn't really attract me much. And I got the realization that actually helping someone's back pain or shoulder pain or get back to sport or just make sure they can stay home as long as possible and not end up in an aged care facility is actually really important and makes a massive difference in people's lives. So I stuck with physio. I was really passionate about the private sector and not ending up in hospitals.
Yeah, right.
And so now I've been able to help thousands of people, and our clinic helps thousands more, and it's a blast. I love it.
So good, so good. So what is the thing that you love most about the physio profession?
I love, especially in a clinic environment, the one-on-one contact that you get with people. Being able to spend 20-30 minutes with someone one-on-one and have a conversation and really solve people's problems. Yes, we use our hands and exercise to help people's pain or injury, but at the end of the day, someone doesn't care whether they get an extra 10 degrees range of motion out of their ankle. They care whether they can get up the steps or play with their kids. And so being able to help solve people's problems and get them moving well, feeling great, there's nothing like it.
Agree. That is awesome. So I understand one of your passions is not just the treatment room, but the actual therapeutic effect of what you do outside the treatment room can really help clients. Can you sort of explain what that means and what you're finding as the benefits?
Sure. We know, and there's actually some really interesting research now to back up what we thought, but we know that it doesn't really matter what someone does with their hands specifically, whether they press 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 pressure. It matters on whether the patient feels like they can trust the therapist. And so that trust and that relationship element is such a key to people actually getting results. In blinded studies and all that sort of stuff, it doesn't matter who the therapist is, but it matters the relationship between patient and therapist as to the outcome people might get. And so we've got to take that one step further now and make sure that the relationship between patient and therapist is not just confined to the 4 white walls of a treatment room or the 4 curtains of a treatment room and goes beyond that. So we love, or at Terrace Physio Plus, we try and make sure that we're the clinic where you'll get the most points of contact with your therapist inside and outside the rooms.
So great.
And whether that's through phone calls, or emails, SMS, through the post, random flower drops at your house, or appointments in consult. And we're finding that makes a massive difference to the experience that a patient has and also the outcomes that they get.
Love it. That is such great, because it is really about care, isn't it?
It is.
And I mean, if you're caring for them, not just in that room, but in the whole of life, there is something about that is really healing, isn't it?
Totally. And there's a really strong education element to what we do as health professionals now. And true patient-centered care really does revolve around the patient understanding what their problem is and how any solution, physio, osteo, chiro, medicine, natural remedies might help. If a patient knows what's wrong and what might help them, they're 2/3 of the way to getting better anyway.
So good, that is so good. So, physios. Okay, so there's lots of different physios out there. Are there different types of physios, and how do you sort of determine between one or the other?
It's a good question. Everyone comes out with the same degree.
Yes, that's right. We all do, yes.
We all do. So, physio is university qualified, but from there's different flavours of physio, I guess you'd say. There's different approaches or modalities. Again, not one is necessarily right or wrong, but typically, I guess the big split is that you'll find physios that are predominantly hands-on or manual therapy based, and physios that are more active-based, exercise rehab-based. And what we're finding now in our clinic and across the profession broadly is that the best physios, or the physios that get the best results, are ones that can integrate that approach in a way that suits the patient.
Yes.
You might have patient A who is hell-bent on having hands-on therapy and they know that's what's going to fix them. In a lot of those cases, that hands-on therapy will fix that patient. And yet another patient might be looking for exercise therapy, and that's what's going to fix their problem and not creating dependency. So the best physios are ones that can blend that in a way that gets outcomes for patients.
Absolutely, that's fabulous, because really it's about tailoring to their needs and making it work, because that's really what clients want, isn't it?
Well, that's patient-centered care.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, if someone's going to cough up cash and come and see us for a problem they need solved, we need to make sure that it revolves around their problem and their solution, rather than, and I think this is sometimes where health professionals actually get pulled up, is we end up becoming a guru in our own backyard and think we have all the answers and try and impose what I think is the best solution onto that patient. And you end up stuck and you're trying to cookie cutter patients into one treatment when we're dealing with humans. Humans don't operate like that.
They don't.
No.
That is such great. Right, now there's a saying that's going around at the moment that sitting is the next smoking. And here we are, a beautiful stand-up desk. So can you give us the rundown of why sitting is so bad for our health?
I would love to. Sitting is the new smoking is the catchphrase, and it sells newspapers.
It does sell newspapers.
But there is an element of truth to it. So the theory behind that headline is there was some research out to suggest that sitting for an hour has the same physical effect as smoking 2 cigarettes.
Right. Yes.
So that was the reason for that. Now, I don't actually know the details behind those physical effects, but we all know that sitting, it increases our chance of back pain, has effects on our organs, and it's probably an indicator of a lifestyle that is more sedentary than necessary, whether that's by nature of your workplace, where you just have to sit for an hour in the car, 8 hours at work, and an hour for the drive home, or it's just that you like Netflix and watch 3 hours of TV a night. We all sit too much, and that does have effects on your both your quality of life and the length of life.
And so what's the remedy? So what do you say to your clients about sort of getting them active and getting them off that sitting position?
It's really interesting. When the saga of sitting is the new smoking came out, we actually saw a spike in increase in patients with problems from standing too much.
Right, yes.
Of all things, because they buy beautiful contraptions like this.
It is so true.
They make things at home, and so the problem actually is not sitting or not standing. The problem is fixed postures for too long.
Agreed.
Okay, so the remedy is movement.
Absolutely.
Movement is always the remedy. There's a couple of good catchphrases around it. Movement is medicine, motion is lotion, and so we're huge advocates of stand-up desks. I've actually got 2 at home. I've got one in the lounge room, one in my office, and we've got them at all our clinics because it gives you the chance to move. This one, there's a wind-up thing on the other side, and it means that you can stand for 20 minutes, sit for 20 minutes, and change your posture. The answer is changing posture.
Great, that is fabulous. That is awesome advice.
It's actually really comfy.
It is, it's great.
I enjoy it.
But is there too much activity though? And then, just like everything, can you have too much?
Yeah, absolutely. You can have too much of anything. So you want to be changing regularly. So we normally suggest every 20 to 30 minutes, change your posture.
Okay.
If you've got the freedom of a stand-up desk, that would be standing for 20 minutes, sitting for 20 minutes. Most workplaces at the moment don't, unless you're lucky enough to have one at work. You might be confined to a seating desk. So just getting up and walking every 20 minutes, just for 2 or 3 minutes to the water cooler or the bathroom, just get up and move every 20 minutes.
And just breaks it up really, doesn't it?
Yeah, but having good setup is really important too. They probably can't see on the camera, but you're standing on a lovely cushion.
Oh, it's very nice. Absolutely. And I know that a lot of people come in with sore feet when they get a stand-up desk.
Absolutely, especially if you're stuck in nice work shoes or high heels. So having the right things stand on,
absolutely,
the desk at the right height, monitor at the right height, all that. It's all elements of having. There's good posture is an interesting phrase, but having the right posture for you, and then being able to be flexible with that.
Awesome, that is great advice. So, getting back to the physio side of things, what is your top tips around preventing injury?
Oh, there's so many, but if I was to boil it down, the number one thing for avoiding injury is managing load.
Yes.
managing load. And what we mean by that is, like, it's the start of the year, right, when we're recording this, and so everyone's got New Year's resolutions to move and get fit and healthy, and so we go from being a couch potato and doing nothing to jumping straight into a functional movement class. We're here at one of 3 of our clinics are inside gyms, and so people jump straight into a class, training 5 days a week from doing nothing.
Yep.
It's a recipe for injury. Like, you might as well just book your appointment 4 weeks in advance, because you're going to need to see someone. Managing load, the golden rule is 10% increase per week.
That's good.
10% increase. So if you do an hour of exercise a week, you want to increase that to an hour and 6 minutes. It's only little, but if you do that enough, you'll get to training, 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. So managing load would be number 1. Number 2 would be getting strong. So there's a lot of, historically, if you were going to exercise, you would do some static stretches, pop your leg up on the fence and stretch your hamstrings. We know now that flexibility doesn't really prevent too many injuries. It certainly doesn't prevent as many as strength. So getting strong is a really good key to preventing injury. And when it comes to flexibility, so stretching still is important, but it's relevant mobility for what you're going to do. So you want to be mobile, not necessarily be able to hold a static stretch for 30 seconds or be able to touch your toes. That stuff is fairly irrelevant, but being mobile for the activity that you're going to do. Now, if you're going to be a professional acrobat or a yoga superstar, then yes, static stretches. But for most of us, static stretches don't help. Hydration would be key number 3.
Awesome.
Like, nutrition is important, but hydration on top of that really is a game changer. There's some good stats around a little bit of decrease in hydration massively affects your ability to exercise. And knowing thyself. Now, everyone's different, and so doing the same stretch routine as everyone else or strength routine as everyone else is just not going to cut it. That's how people get injured. So making sure that you know what works for your body. And the last tip I would say would be to have the right coaches, mentors, therapists. Just going and having a crack at something without the right person watching you or program for your body, you've got to have a good coach. It's worth the investment in a gym with a coach or a PT or a sports club with a good coach. Get a coach.
Brilliant. Great advice. So let's go to the next one then. If you get an injury, which is going to happen, what are your top tips around recovering?
This is interesting. Now, we're recording this now. The evidence probably will change in the next 6 to 12 months, but we know now that icing injuries, and the old RICER acronym, it is still relevant, but only in acute injuries.
Yes.
And we know now for actually a shorter period of time. So if we're talking acute injuries, RICER is important for the first 12 to 24 hours, but we know that keeping moving as much as possible is really important. If you've got a sprained ankle, normally, if it's not broken, it's okay to walk on. If you've got an acute jarred your back, walking and standing is probably one of the best things. Sitting is certainly not. So RICER, keep moving, and if it hasn't resolved within the first 3 days, it's probably going to need a helping hand.
Yes.
And you and I both know that if someone has an injury and thinks it might get better, and you're 2 weeks down the track and it's still not better, it makes our job difficult if you leave it for too long. If you can get in quickly within the first 3 to 5 days, we'll get you quicker, faster, rather than wait. Can we talk quickly about chronic injuries?
Absolutely.
If you've got a flare-up of chronic injuries, the worst thing you can do is lay in bed.
Yep.
Please don't just lay down, and please don't self-medicate. Trust your medical professionals with your medical advice, but we know that moving really is the key, and not to let things get out of control in your head. It's really easy when you've had back pain for a long time and it flares up to panic and freak out and take some more medication that might be counterproductive, things like opioids. Don't let it freak out, don't let it get to your head. Keep moving and trust your health professional who's interested in active rehab and your best outcomes.
So good. That is awesome. Well, there you go. Jack O'Brien, fabulous. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure,
and
mate.
sharing your desk with us. Brilliant. Look, if you want to know more about Jack, information about his clinics will be on the screen right now. If you want to get in contact and ask him a question, I'm sure he'd love to answer anything that you would like to ask.
I'd love to, yeah, bring it on.
Look, thanks for joining us. Next week we're going to have another incredible interview. So remember, same time, same place, 12:30. Healing is a gift, health a responsibility. Have a great week.